So we have here is the BY21G, which is the stainless slip it, the wings with the G10 inserts here, okay, or inlays, or scales, however you want to look at it, but the bolsters are stainless. The newer version, I believe it's newer, is the BY20G, which is just all G10. Okay, so you will have a lighter weight knife with that one. Anyway, some specs on this. First of all, it is a slip joint. There's no locking mechanisms on this knife, but it's a very sturdy slip joint. All right, the back springs are pretty tight, so once that's open, it takes quite a bit of force. I mean, I don't know exactly what poundage. You should probably get one of those gun trigger, poundage scales or whatever, and pull on the back of the blade so I can see what the tension is. At least I give you like a reference so you have an understanding, but it's pretty sturdy. It's not loose or floppy. It would take a little bit of force. I mean, even just whacking it on my hand here, it's not closing. If I give it a good whack, then you see it closes a little bit. There we go. But anyway, very sturdy slip joint. Obviously, there's two blades here. Both blades offer something different. They both have a very similar design. Right off the bat, you look at them and you think, oh, they kind of look the same. The biggest difference, obviously, is that you have your plain edge blade here and then your serrated blade here. So some people who like serrations but have a hard time sharpening them, you'll always have your plain edge to work with. So that's always good. And if you get something that's really fibrous, you can always go back over here and use the serrated side. But if you look closer, you'll notice, even though it's very slight, the plain edge blade on here is a modified drop point, as opposed to the serrated blade, which is a modified sheep's foot blade. Okay, so we have the perfectly straight edge here, and then there's no point. It drops down. Whereas this one, we do have a little bit of belly. Not much, but a little bit of belly there. So anyway, both blades are the same length and material, which is 2.75 inches or 70 millimeters, since this is a blade that would appeal to a lot of you guys overseas that can have locking folders. So I want to give you those specs as well. They're both hollow ground blades made of 8CR13 MOV stainless. They did come ridiculously razor sharp out of the box when I first got it. And, no surprise by Spyderco or Byrd, which is obviously their, sister company. This is made overseas in China, unfortunately. There's the mark, China. So if you don't support that, then don't get this knife. There's plenty of other cool knives out there. But anyway, yeah, ridiculously sharp out of the box, both blades. Even with use, the serrated blade has stayed pretty sharp. I did resharpen the plain edge on here. The HCR13 MOV holds a okay edge. It's still on the soft side, so I did need resharpening after using it for a while, but I got it nice and sharp. It is easy to sharpen, which is always a plus for those softer steels. What makes these unique, and the whole Byrd line, they'll have the opening hole. It's kind of a teardrop shape, and it gives the somewhat of an appearance of a bird or reptile type. I think of like Velociraptor type deal. If you look at this as being the eye and this being kind of the beak of the bird or reptile, whatever, that's kind of like the whole theme that's going on here. It's pretty cool. It's definitely unique. The extreme cutouts here make this grip very comfortable, extremely comfortable. But I can say that I rarely ever use this type of grip. This is a good grip if you're like scraping glue or something off a glass, which I wouldn't recommend you do. That's what a big old pack of cheap razor blades are for. But just in case you happen to be doing that, this grip here does offer a lot of fine cutting with that tip. But just, I don't know, I rarely ever use that grip. A lot of people will talk about that and say, oh, it's really comfortable like this. I don't know, I rarely use it like that. Unfortunately, because of the second blade usually being closed, well, I'll say always being closed, because it's rare you ever get a hold of a knife like this. I wouldn't even suggest this if you're, defending your life. It's not, it looks cool, but it's certainly not going to be effective for anything other than looking cool. But most of the time you have one blade out, one blade in. And when you grip the knife, unfortunately, your grip, your parts of your fingers here, you have a lot of pressure on that blade because you're squeezing. And it's, although it's not too sharp on the sides, it's not like completely squared off, so it's not like ridiculously sharp. It's uncomfortable because it's a thin piece of metal. Your best grip is like this, but again, you're not going to cut like this. It's going to be awkward, or you're going to cut something you don't want to cut. So ergos on this are not good, just because of the fact you have those two blades. So I wouldn't recommend this knife for any kind of long-term cutting. If you want a cool little EDC, it's totally fine. You break it out, open your box, whatever you gotta do. Not a big deal, but I'm talking about extensive cutting, or if you're gonna be using this a lot, it really will wear on your hands. So, I mean, you can even see how it's getting a little red just from me gripping here. You see the spots there. So, ergos are not very good on it. The finish is, it's not bad. I mean, again, you look at the price tag, it's a Chinese knife. But actually, I shouldn't even say that, because this knife usually sells for about $30 or $35. And for 35 bucks, there's definitely other knives out there that are much better. You guys know this by now. There's tons of them. Even if you want to stay with Spyderco, again, go back to the whole Tenacious line. Tenacious, Persistence, Resilience, all those knives are in and around that price range. So all much better options than this. However, I know a lot of guys overseas, again, you cannot have those locking knives. So this would make a good option for you. And like I said, it's totally fine for an EDC knife. It's not that bad. It really isn't. It's just that, like I said, if you're going to use it for an extended period of time, it will hurt your hand. It will get uncomfortable for you. Overall, it's kind of funky. It looks cool. It's great to have the additional blade here. You can never use your serrated blade, and just always use your straight edge. And when it gets dull, you can sharpen it up. And you'll know if for some reason you really need a good sharp blade, you'll always have the serrated one as a backup, ready to go. And if you have to cut rope or like some kind of denim or something really fibrous, you can rip through it real easy with the serrations. So that's a nice plus, having that second blade there. Pocket clip is swappable, all 4 positions, tip up, tip down, right or left hand carry. You can see it's tapped on all sides, which is very nice. It is easy to open with those opening holes, and it does have a stop point in the middle here. Now, usually really nice high quality slip joints will stop, the blade will stop right there. All right, this is a nice little touch, something that Spyderco did through their Byrd line. It's something not a lot of people even think of, really, but if you deal with a lot of slip joints, you'll find that some of the nicest ones out there do have a stop position here. And basically the advantage of that is repositioning your hand if you need to, okay? Or basically if you're closing a knife with one hand, which I wouldn't recommend because of that strong back spring, it gives you time to actually move your fingers out of the way before it shuts all the way. So sometimes that back spring will suck that blade in, and at this point, about this much closed is when it'll start sucking that blade in, just like that. But it's not very hard. It's kind of a soft, pull in like that. Some slip joints, I mean, they snap shut hard, so sometimes you have a tendency to cut the tip of your fingers or something if you don't move your fingers out of the way. So that little stop point in the middle is a nice little sign of a quality slip joint. But take a look at the hardware coming close. You can see Torx all around. And if you're someone who likes to tinker and really want to have some fun, you can easily pop off these scales here and replace them with some wood or maybe some carbon fiber, or if you want to play around. It's a very simple design like that. You just have to put them on and finish them and sand them and all that stuff, but it'd be a cool little project knife if you want to do something like that. When I look at slip joints, the first thing I look at is the fit and finish of the back springs, because there's a lot of little parts and layers that go into it. And you'll see on this one, just like a lot of them, it's not perfect. I mean, it's not horrible, but you can see the gaps in here, those lines. It just means that the metal is not flat completely. There's one spot in between, I blocked this off, right here. See that spot? That's perfect. See how it just looks like one thick piece of stainless in between 2 pieces of G10? That's what you want in a slip joint. But unfortunately, even some really nice ones and expensive ones, you end up getting this. You get little gaps here and there, imperfections where the steel is not flat. Not a huge deal, but it is the difference between something that's very high quality and something that's just so-so. But for me, something made in China and being the price tag, it's about what you can expect. It's not going to affect its functionality or anything like that. It's just personal preference, I suppose. Still an awesome little knife. It's very cool. I do like the fact that it has 2 blades. It's kind of a novelty design. I think it's a really cool knife. Like I said, definitely suited for a lot of you guys in the UK and stuff, and just places where you're looking for different options for slip joints, and you kind of like the slip joint, the whole thing with slip joints, but you want it more modern or tactical, and the fact that you get this different type of look, more of a modern look as opposed to traditional look, but you also get the benefits of the pocket clip. And this is one of the very few slip joints that does have two blades. All right. First of all, not only just two blades, but then one of them being serrated, which is hard to find in a lot of slip joints. And the fact that you have a pocket clip, but not just a pocket clip that is swappable for all four positions. So it does offer some unique features together. So again, I would think that if you're in the US, you have so many options for knives that this would not probably be a great option for you. But if you are limited in price and in variety, and of course by law in different countries, this would make a good option for you. So really doing this review for a lot of guys overseas. And of course for everyone who just asked me. I got inundated with messages saying, hey, just saw that cool knife, what was that? Can you do a review on it? Absolutely. That was the Wings Slip It. Very cool little knife. Not my favorite, but there's just too many knives out there to pick this one. But it's definitely cool. So it's worth checking out. I believe this specific model might be discontinued. The full G10 model I think is still available. Just do a Google search. You can find, if you go to Google and type in products, you can find you know, the variety of websites that it's offered on. And of course, if you like knives that just are hard to find and you can't find them at stores, always try the forums, such as bladeforums.com or knifeforums.com. There's plenty of them out there that have their own marketplace or sales section. You can do your purchasing, your selling, and your trading there. And you'll find all kind of knives that you've probably never even seen before. Discontinued knives, old school knives, both used and new. So it's a great place to go converse with people and you know, just chat about your hobbies. But anyway, that's it. That's my review of the Wings knife from Byrd. It's pretty cool. It's not my favorite knife, but it definitely has some unique offerings. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I thank you for the interest and for watching. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.